Media stereotyping isn't a game, but today we are going to turn it into one. Hi, I'm Nadine Thornhill, sexuality educator. Welcome to the very last episode of my series, Safe Sex Ed, where I teach every sex education module from Ontario's 2015 Health and Phys Ed curriculum. Now, if you are new here, don't worry about the fact that it is the last episode. You can still find out what the series is about. Just click the I up there. Also, if you're new and you like this episode, maybe you want to subscribe to the channel, which is also really easy. You just have to click the subscribe button down there and then click the bell, and you will be notified when I upload new videos. The Health and Phys Ed curriculum for grades 9 through 12 outline the following learning objective for grade 12. Analyze the portrayal of different relationships in the media with respect to bias and stereotyping, and describe how individuals can take action to encourage more realistic and inclusive messaging. As I said, today's activity is a game. So for this game, you are going to need a regular 6-sided die. You are going to need a timer of some sort, and you are going to need game sheets for everyone in your class or group, and you can download those from my website, NadineThornhill.com. Now, your class or group can play as individuals, or if it's a large group and you want the game to go a little bit faster, they can also pair up. So here are the rules. Every person or pair will get a gaming sheet, and on these sheets will be a list of 13 types of people and or relationship scenarios, and they are as follows. An Asian man as the central romantic figure focuses on a heterosexual relationship or relationships. Focuses on a relationship between two people of color. Sexual partners who talk about safer sex. A visibly disabled person as the central romantic figure. A man who accepts that the woman he loves is not interested in him. An asexual romantic relationship. A disabled person who has sex or is explicitly said to be in a sexual relationship. A white person as the central romantic figure. A couple who talk or visibly communicate during sex. A married couple who do not have and do not want kids. A trans or non-binary person as the central romantic figure, and if it is film or television, that character is portrayed by an out trans or non-binary actor. A fat person as the object of desire. So how the game works is that you will roll the dice, and each number on the dice represents a different category. 1 is film, 2 is television, 3 is a book, 4 is a song or song lyrics, 5 is a web series or a web channel, and 6 is an ad, either a print ad or a film-based ad. Once you've rolled the dice to determine the category, everyone will have 3 minutes to think of an answer to each person or relationship described on the sheet related to the category. So if you roll a 2, then the category is TV, and then people have to come up with a TV show featuring an Asian man as the romantic lead, a TV show that features a heterosexual couple, etc., etc. Now, the answers that they come up with have to be positive, they have to be non-stereotypical, and they can't be played for laughs or be mocking in tone. At the end of the round, you are going to start by reading out the first person or relationship scenario described. Everyone is going to read their answer aloud. If anyone has the same answer as someone else, they are to raise their hand. And everyone gets 1 point for each answer they are able to give, unless they have the same answer as someone else in the group, at which point nobody with that answer gets a point for that person and or relationship scenario. You're going to do 3 rounds of this, and if you roll a number that you have already rolled, then just roll it again until you get a new number. At the end, everyone adds up their points, and the person with the most points wins. You can give them a little prize if you want to. Now you can process the game by asking the following questions. Which people or relationship scenarios did you find it hardest to think of answers for? What did you notice about the people and or relationship scenarios that had the fewest duplicate answers? What does this exercise tell you about the way that relationships or sex can often be stereotyped in the media? Conclude by explaining that media stereotypes often, not always, represent rigid and oppressive biases around who gets to be seen as attractive, what sort of relationships are valid, and our general fear of doing things that make us emotionally vulnerable. The reality is that all types of bodies, people of all different ethnicities, people of different ages, and people with different abilities can be desirable, and there are a range of relationship styles and structures that can be happy, positive, healthy, and fulfilling. Maintaining awareness of how media may limit our perception of who's desirable or what we should look for in a relationship can help us be open to, different people, different relationship structures, and different experiences that may serve us really, really well. I know this lesson focuses on teens, but the tips I'm going to give you can apply to parents or caregivers with kids of any age, really. Try to be aware of how often you might compare, your body or your relationship or, even something like your financial situation, your possessions or your home to fictional people and fictional situations. A lot of us will lament ways that we don't live up to an ideal that we have in our head, and that ideal oftentimes is at least a little bit informed by, media messages and these shiny, crafted images that we've been fed throughout our lives, and those images in media are set up at least in part to make us feel insecure, because when we're insecure, we tend to buy stuff. Spend a little time deconstructing media illusions with your teen or even your kid by asking them questions that make them think about things like, who made these choices? Why did they make these choices? Why has, a film or television show been cast in a certain way? Why do we see certain people and not other people? Now I say spend some time, because if you do it ad nauseum, your kid is going to resent the crap out of you. And along the lines of deconstructing, here are some questions to help you. How do media stereotypes make people money? What are examples of positive or diverse representation in media? So, speaking of media, all of my resources today are examples of new media that have diverse representation. For Harriet, which is an awesome YouTube channel that does cultural and media analysis from the perspective of a Black woman. Still Processing is a podcast about pop culture by two Black and queer pop culture writers at the New York Times. Similarly, The Read is also a podcast that is about pop culture, also by two Black and queer culture commentators. Just a heads up, The Read gets really, really explicit, and there's a lot of language in it, but it's hilarious. Disability After Dark is the podcast hosted by Andrew Gurza, who's been featured on this channel and is all about being a sexy disabled person. Sex Gets Real, another podcast run by a dear friend, colleague of mine, Dawn Sarah, where she gets really down into the nitty-gritty of sex, of sexuality, of bodies, and all of the things that sort of inform our choices and our feelings around that. Wisecrack is a very popular YouTube channel that again does analysis of pop culture, also literature. It's really, really funny, but also really sharp. And finally, YouTuber Lindsay Ellis does all kinds of cultural criticism, and she's like feminist and sarcastic, and I love her channel. So in the comments below, tell me about some of your favorite cultural critics or your favorite podcasts or YouTube channel. Okay, so that is it. So before we go, I have a bunch of thank yous. Thank you to everyone who helped me fund, promote, and create this series. Thank you to Andrew Gurza, Faye Johnstone, Reese Malone, and Stephen DeWitt for collaborating with me during this series. Thank you to Craig Brown for producing the captions for the videos. Thank you to Greer McNally, who did illustrations and diagrams. And thank you to Phil Eisen, my partner, who learned how to use Final Cut Pro just so he could help me with the editing process. Thank you to We Have Your Back and the 519 for sponsoring these videos. And last but definitely not least, thank you to you for watching these videos. I hope that you found them helpful. I hope that they've been educational, and I hope you'll be able to take something that will make it a little bit easier for you to talk about these subjects in your classroom, in a group setting, or at home. This was a lot of fun, but it was also a lot of work. So I am going to be taking a short break from making videos for the channel, but I will be back. So until then, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye. You can help me continue creating free sex ed content by supporting me on Patreon. For as little as $3 a month, you'll get access to all sorts of goodies, so head on over to patreon.com/Nadine Thornhill or click the link down in the description below.